Well, friends, as Donald Trump's first state court prosecution moves forward toward trial, Donald Trump's federal court prosecutions back up. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, Donald Trump is set to be prosecuted in his first criminal case just a few weeks from now. It's a state court case up in New York, set to begin on March 25th. That's his 2016 election interference case, his hush money case, his falsifying business records case. He's indicted on 34 felony counts in that New York State prosecution. But friends, let's face it, the chances of Donald Trump being federally prosecuted in either his DC case or his Florida case, being federally prosecuted before the November presidential election, is growing less likely by the day. And this is especially true given what happened today in a Florida courtroom in his federal prosecution. This is his prosecution for unlawfully retaining classified information, for obstructing justice, and for violating our nation's espionage laws. This is the case being presided over by Donald Trump's favorite judge, Judge Aileen Cannon. Let's look at the reporting regarding what happened in today's status hearing in that courtroom down in Florida. This from CBS News. Headline: Trump special counsel at odds in Florida courtroom over future of classified documents case. And that article begins, days after the Supreme Court agreed to consider whether he, Trump, is absolutely immune from prosecution, former President Donald Trump and his legal team are in a Florida courtroom as the judge in the federal classified documents case against him on Friday considers when the case will go to trial. By late morning, U.S. District Judge Aileen Cannon, a Trump appointee, had not set a trial date and appeared skeptical of the July date proposed by special counsel Jack Smith. Wait a minute. Judge Cannon expressed skepticism at a July trial date. Friends, you may remember that Judge Cannon already set a trial date in this very case for May 20th. That trial date had not been canceled, had not been vacated, had not been revisited since the time she set it several months ago. And yet, when Jack Smith proposed an even later trial date, a July trial date, which would have given Donald Trump and his lawyers more time to prepare, she seems skeptical of it. Let's go back to the CBS reporting. Trump and Smith were both in the federal courtroom during the marathon morning session. It was the first time they've been in the same room since January, when Trump's lawyers were making the case in an appeals court hearing in Washington that he, Trump, has broad immunity from prosecution for alleged acts while he was president. Prosecutors Thursday night proposed a July 8 trial date, while the defense, which has argued a fair trial would not be possible before the November election, conceded that August or September would be feasible if the court requires the trial to move forward. Both sides continued to make the case for their preferred dates. And this quote from one of Jack Smith's prosecutors, quote, "The one thing the parties can agree on is this case can be tried this summer," Deputy Special Counsel Jay Bratt argued Friday. But Cannon referred to some of the pretrial deadlines proposed by the Justice Department as unrealistic and said she needs space in the case to allow for flexibility. Trump attorney Todd Blanche pointed out that the former president, beginning in March, would be on trial in another case in New York until mid-May, so his lawyers cannot effectively prepare for this trial by July. Prosecutors pointed out that Blanche chose to take the documents case when he already had the New York case. Blanche countered that a defendant should have the counsel of his choosing and said, "We're not trying to play courts off each other." Oh, perish the thought. Blanche said the easy solution would be to start after the 2024 election in late November to avoid working ourselves into almost a frenzy. Did you catch that, friends? Donald Trump's lawyers tell Judge Aileen Cannon that, Judge, the easy solution is to just kick this trial down the road until well after the next presidential election. That's the easy solution so that we, Donald Trump's lawyers, don't have to work ourselves into almost a frenzy. Maybe the easy solution for Donald Trump and his lawyers, but it's not an easy solution for the health, indeed the viability of our democracy. Because when the American voters go to the polls in November, they should know whether the person they're casting their ballot for in the event they choose to vote for Donald Trump is guilty of violating our nation's espionage laws, is guilty of unlawfully retaining classified documents and national defense information, is guilty of obstructing justice by defying a grand jury subpoena for the return of those documents and that information, is guilty of doing deep and very likely lasting damage to our national security. But the easy solution is just to kick it until after the next election so the American people, the American voters, are deprived of knowing exactly who it is they're casting their ballot for. Oh, and by the way, friends, Judge Cannon concluded the hearing today without setting a new trial date. So first up, Donald Trump's New York State criminal prosecution. We'll be watching that one closely. The evidence is strong, including an audio recording of Donald Trump and his then co-conspirator Michael Cohen agreeing to commit this crime. So at least Donald Trump, it looks like, will be tried, will be convicted, will be sentenced, given the strength and the quality of the evidence. That case will be resolved well in advance of the 2024 presidential election, and then the American voters will at least have some sense of who they're casting their ballot for, likely a convicted felon. But, knowing who you're voting for, like justice, matters. Friends, hang in there. Please stay safe. Please stay tuned. And I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.